give you a parallel argument, and this is why I want to think about it before I do. I don't want to go, you know, nailing somebody to the wall for something they did or didn't do unless I know it happened and it's wrong. I was at a meeting, the HOA meeting. I stopped for the story before, from a homeowners association. We have chickens in our backyard. And I was at a meeting, and they said, you can't have chickens in your backyard. I said, sure you can. They said, no, you can't. It's in the CCR document. I'm like, pull the document out. And I said, go to the section where it says we can't have chickens. And they went back and they said, it says right here, no poultry of any kind shall be kept on any lot. And I said, is there a period at the end of that word lot? She said, no, it's a comma. I said, well, keep reading. No poultry shall be kept on any lot, comma, except for a reasonable number of approved species. So I'm like, there you go. What do you mean? I'm like, well, there you go. If there was a period at the end of the lot, then I couldn't have chickens in the lot. Because it says except for a reasonable number of approved species. Or popular species, not popular species. She's like, well, chickens aren't popular. I'm like, they're the fourth most popular animal by population in the United States of pet.
Yeah.
How do you know that? I'm like, I looked this stuff up. I'm a researcher. That's kind of what I do. Well, how do you know that again? So I'm like, well, here's a copy of it. I brought a copy of the report for you. She got all pissed and stormed out. I'm like, that's the thing, though. I wonder if this is one of those cases where don't write a percentage as a decimal, comma, unless you do it correctly.
Right.
So I wonder if we just stop listening after the decimal. Don't write percentage as a decimal, period, comma, unless you do it right. I got to find that out.
Yeah.
I'm sure. No, I'm not sure of that either. The first thing I thought of, I started thinking about why that would be said. Why would you say you have to write it as a percentage? And I thought, okay, maybe it's because the research always writes it as a percentage. And I'm like, but it doesn't. Like, I actually went online and grabbed a couple of scholarly documents. I'm like, there's decimals, there's percentages, they're all mixed together.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was a class thing where they agreed to always write it as a percentage so everybody was being consistent. But that confused me even more. I'm like, you guys are like 20 years old, you know? I mean, it's like, you should know how to go back and forth between a fraction or a percentage or a decimal. I mean, it's like, you know, I mean, you're, sorry, average, Carly, average, 99% confidence. So the idea is, I just don't understand that comment, so I gotta track it down. So if it applies to you, grab me at the break, we'll fix it, we'll make it right. Okay? If you got stuff wrong legitimately, I'm not gonna fix anything. But you can fix that with the rated A coupon on the quiz. Don't forget that that's there. Right? It's the end of week 8. Crap, it's weekend 8. It's the weekend 8. It's the end of week 8. So make sure that you turn in that rated A exam correction if you can use it for the first exam. Don't forget about that. Week 10, do week 10. And don't forget the rated A quiz coupon if you've got a quiz that's low and you want to fix. A lot of you guys are sitting in really good grade range right now, so you might not even need to fix anything. But it's there if you need it. So, cool? All right, so project's in. Your last project is submitted electronically. You do the entire thing in an Excel spreadsheet. The entire thing's in Excel. I've created some functions that don't exist in Excel. Well, I lied a little bit. They kind of exist in Excel. I've kind of edited them a little bit to make them a little more logical for you guys. And it's about linear regression, which is different enough. The reason it's a project is twofold. If you look at the outcomes for this course, it's actually in there for the outcomes for 244. But the way every textbook does linear regression nowadays, I don't really like it. They do it as a t-test, which is what we're in the middle of doing right now, and that's great. The reason I don't like doing it that way is because it itself is different enough. Linear regression is when you try to tie two variables together by a common behavior. That's regression in general. You have a variable x and a variable y, and you want to see if there's some kind of a pattern in how x and y behave. Sometimes there's not, sometimes there is. In 105, I don't know if you guys had me in 105 or not, we took measurements. We measured our elbows to our wrists, and then our wrists to our fingers, and we tried to see if there was a pattern there, and there's a very loose pattern. There's supposed to be, according to artists and biologists, there's supposed to be a common multiplier ratio between those two distances. So we tested that in 105. We also tested to see if there was a pattern between how long it took me to ride my bike down the hill and the distance I covered in that. We also tested to see if there's a pattern in the number of times you flip a coin and the number of percentage of those that get heads on each successive flip. So there's all kinds of patterns that can or can't exist in the world. The last project has you explore some of those. I use Rate My Professor, I use some ticket prices, I use a few other things that I can't remember right now. But I do it that way because the way you're learning in the project is the way it's actually done in the world. Nobody does it the way textbooks teach it, which is as a t-test. It clouds what you're actually doing, which is looking for the pattern. So anyway, long introduction to what you're doing in your last project. But you don't print it. I mean, you can print it if you want to, but that's not what you're submitting. You're gonna save everything in this spreadsheet and email it back to me. Okay? You just make sure it says it in the project, make sure it's emailed back before 2 weeks from today. So before class starts on the last day of class. Cool? Please, Caitlin.
Yeah, is your grader still grading some quizzes, or is this like completely caught up?
I think that is what you guys turned in last week. Yes? I think. Are you missing something?
Yeah.
Do you think? Okay, let's chit chat at break. And remember, there's stuff in this folder too.
I looked.
You looked?
There's a couple things with no name on it though.
Well, check.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Let's just chit chat. Let's chit chat and figure it out. Okay. Okay. So that's that. Cool? How we doing? All right. It looks surprisingly alert for week 8. Well done. Well done. Coffee's working. Here we go. All right.